Today we're going to be breaking down the basics of the VEX V5 game manual. I'm Ian. I'm the captain, driver, and notebooker for Team 46311A.
I'm Seth. I'm the lead designer and lead builder for Team 46311A Nocturnal.
Yeah, before we dive right in, I'd just really like to ask you guys to please consider liking and subscribing. It really takes seconds, and it really helps us kick off these YouTube videos. So to start, we're going to look at how scoring objects, our statuses, are evaluated at the end of the match.
So, this has the 5-second delay, the benefit of the doubt thing. It's the same as pushback. So a pin is considered placed. Obviously, like if it's inside the goal or the cup. So like this would not be scored, this would be scored. Kind of what we expected.
Definitely, and each pin consists of 2 halves, and each placed pin can only have 2 scored halves. So that's just really just depicting what's going on here. Moving on to the rollers or togglers, they're considered set to a color when they have to be fully turned that way. And an interesting rule is that the robots can't be touching the toggler at the end of the match. So you can be right on it up to the end, but then you do have to pull away at the end in order for it to count.
SC5, each pin can be owned by an alliance. We know this from game reveal. The toggles control these, the midfield, the end game controls the mid goal. This is just demonstrating the scoring, right, and how it works. If you haven't seen the game reveal video, you should watch that, but we know this from game reveal.
Yeah, and definitely, the rules around the robot being part of the midfield, it just really says that the robot has to be breaking the plane. You don't have to be fully in it or a majority of the robot in it, just that any part of the robot has to be someone in the box, or at least breaking the plane.
So the auto bonus is 12 points, but it's the same as pushback, like violations mean the other team gets the auto. The win point, the auto win point, 7 pins need to be scored for your alliance on your side. And 3 goals need to contain 2 pins each. And one of them clearly needs to contain 3, because you need 7.
Yeah, and this is a really difficult win point to earn solo. They're definitely forcing you, with the possession limit, to have to collaborate with your alliance partners. I think there will definitely be teams that will achieve this solo win by themselves. Those that master the AI vision sensor and really get good at programming. But overall, this is a hard win point. For the autonomous bonus, though, they are giving 12 points out instead of 10, which they gave for pushback. And they definitely need to do this to counteract with the 5 points that are scored for your alliance color block and 10 for the yellows. So that's an increase that we do see this year.
So one thing I will say, for really good teams, this autonomous win point, this difficult criteria, is going to be, I think it's really good news for teams that are really good at programming, right? Because you guys could have a solo autonomous win point, but then most people, the mid tier, is not going to have it, right?
Yeah, and again, this is just contributing to the separation between the high level teams and the low level teams. We're definitely going to see that, those that have mastered the drivetrain, mastered programming, the AI vision sensors, and those that are still trying to learn it, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So SG1, you have to fit in 18 inches to start, right? Horizontal expansion is limited to 24 inches. So I think that's a pretty good expansion limit, right? And this here, it explains how when robots are extending upward, they may also extend horizontally, and they just need to be aware that they stay within the 24 inches.
Yeah, and vertical expansion is also limited to the 50 inches, and we knew that from game video.
Yep. SG4, keep the scoring objects in the field, same as any other year, really. SG5, each robot starts with 1 pin as a preload. And one other thing is that you cannot start contacting a toggle, which I think is really important for auto, because I would think that in auto, you definitely want to switch the toggles.
Definitely.
Right?
We're going to see our first step, instead of moving forward to moving slightly back, of rolling whatever roller you have on the top, to switching that roller to your color, and then moving forward to score.
So you're probably going to have to build some type of a rubber band mechanism or something, so that you can drive, you can be touching the wall to start, and then still drive half an inch backwards in order to touch the toggle at the start of auto, right? So possession is limited to 1 pin and 1 cup. We knew this, but one thing that I found interesting is robots in violation just stop everything and get rid of the excess scoring objects. So if you intake 2 scoring objects, right, the next thing you try to do is get rid of one of them, and then you can go back to playing the game, which is not what I expected. I expected if you violate possession limit, then you're disabled. You're done.
Yeah, and I think the match affecting statuses that will come from this possession limit. I mean, I think that if it's match affected, different teams will definitely pursue disqualifications. They'll pursue getting at this rule a little more.
I think the only way this could become match affecting is maybe if somebody didn't stop all actions and they scored a block and then scored a second block that they weren't supposed to have.
I mean, scoring a block while they were in possession of another block, so
would be illegal,
at the same time,
according to this rule.
Especially at the end of the game, when that would be match effective.
Yeah. So don't cross the auto line. And then this next rule, engage with the midfield or auto line at your own risk. So these horizontal pins that are circled and these circled vertical pins can be used by either alliance. Because this center zone is kind of a free-for-all zone, right?
Yeah.
In auto, both teams can go there. So it could maybe be an auto strategy to rush these horizontal pins. But I don't see that, because to me, I think vertical pins will be easier and more consistent for auto.
Yeah, and one of the great things that was so cool about Pushback was seeing those different teams engaging with each other during autonomous, having that sort of neutral zone with those center goals. And I think we're going to see a lot of, maybe not those similar dynamics with this game, but I think we are going to see engagement.
Yeah,
that's going to be cool to watch.
in Vex U,
yes,
there was the
Vex U
common
game.
zone.
Exactly.
Yeah. I see that the robots are probably, most of them are going to get these 4 pins in the middle. I think all 4 of these pins are probably going to be scored by the end of autonomous, assuming everyone's auto works, right? I don't see these pins being super contested in auto. Maybe in elims, but I don't know. Maybe, but I don't see them being that contested. Okay, yeah. So if robots contact one another while they're contesting these, it's kind of too bad. Sorry.
Yeah, and they definitely list that out as saying that you are engaging with that center zone at your own risk. So I think that is part of that's going to create some inconsistencies with people's auto. Is that a risk that teams want to take? We'll see how those strategies develop throughout the year.
Yeah, so in SG9, alliance goals are protected, right? So your alliance is the only alliance that can really do anything with the goals of your color, right? The other alliance can't score on them. They can't de-score them. So it's the alliance stakes and high stakes. What's scored is scored. What's you can So you're the only one who can do anything with those.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things that people have been waiting for this manual to come out is to really see what the rules are regarding de-scoring. And we finally get to see what the rules are regarding de-scoring, and to be honest, they're a little bit disappointing.
Yep, SG10. Scoring objects can't be removed from neutral or opposing alliance-colored goals.
Yeah, and this really kills a lot of strategy.
Yes.
I mean, one of the great things about Pushback, high stakes, and these past few games is you can de-score. De-scoring is half the game. And we saw scores go from Mall of America, where they were frequently over 100, to scores at Worlds that were relatively low.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw de-scoring become increasingly huge, but this game, it's definitely focusing on your own offense.
Yes.
You scoring in your own quadrant. And I think this is going to be similar to how you couldn't de-score and spin up.
Yeah.
That sort of dynamic.
Yeah, so this is really disappointing to me, because I thought they were making a pretty big deal about how this was about object orientation and reorientation and reorientation.
Yes.
And to me, clearly it's not. It's about orientation to score it, but then once it's oriented and scored, it's scored. There's no reorientation.
Yeah.
I think this might be something that might be changed in a future or not in the September update, maybe.
I mean, what I can see if they are going to change that is maybe having a protected time period at the end, last 30 seconds you can't de-score or something like that to make people focus on the end game. I don't know. I think this rule, SG11, is just really... SG10 is really disappointing to the overall strategy of the game.
Yeah. So in SG11 you can match load. Each team gets, I think, 10 pins and 11 cups or something like that to match load. SG12, there's the 18-inch expansion limit vertical, which I really don't like this at all.
What's so annoying about the 18-inch expansion limit is it's the most important stake of the game at one of the most important times, and you can't score. They set it up in such a way where it's like they want people to be focusing on the king of the hill aspect.
Yeah.
Shoving robots in and out of that zone of the midfield. But what they completely missed is that you're doing so to gain blocks in the center.
Yeah.
To fight for that control. That's what you're fighting for. You're not fighting for the 8 points.
Yeah, the 8 points.
No one cares
is
about
nothing.
the 8 points. You're fighting for the control of those yellows.
Especially
And
considering how
they missed that so bad. So, yeah, we're going to see what strategies develop around that.
Considering that there's no D-scoring, I think this game, the scores will end above 100 points every time for both alliances.
And what's going to be super annoying about the D-scoring part is every robot will look the same by November.
Yes.
And that's going to be part of it.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah. So now I'm just going to quick jump to the dimensions of the pins. So the pins are 6.5 inches long, and at their widest point, about 3.1 to 3.15 inches. And at their skinniest point, 1.4 inches. So what this makes is for your intake, right? If you want to have consistent contact with the pin, it needs to be able to go. Your intake needs to be able to go down to 1.4 inches and up to 3.1. So that's 1.7 inches of flexibility. Of course, that'll only be for vertical, so you technically about 0.85, but that's still like a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
for sure.
a lot of flexibility. So I think something that could actually be meta is maybe like, you know how like floating intakes, everyone had floating intakes and pushback. Well, I think maybe you could use that principle for like every single rubber band roller on your robot. Like,
yeah,
if you want to have consistent contact with the pin, like you're gonna need that.
And the reorientation part too is going to be a challenge with those.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. And so the cups are much more simple.
Yeah, so the cups are going to be far easier to handle just because of their differences in size. I mean, this is going to be annoying to create whatever system you're going to do to manage that for your delivery. These will definitely be easier to manage.
Yeah, for sure, because they're a lot of a consistent. But also, your intake probably needs to be able to handle both.
Definitely.
Right? It definitely needs
double
to be
intakes
able to
too
handle both.
could happen, or definitely to accommodate these different block sizes, or not block sizes, but field
Pins and
element
cups,
sizes.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for watching to the end. Please like and subscribe. Good luck and override.